And when it comes to this subject, you guys know I don't say this in a vacuum, and everyone's going to accuse me as if I am trying to make it sound like that. I don't believe in this in a vacuum. Like as soon as girls turn 14, 50-year-old men can start hitting on them. I don't believe in that at all. In fact, I don't believe in sex at all with unmarried peoples. I don't mean this in a vacuum, but
Space,
at the same
space.
time, I am fucking sick of people pretending that people who have fully developed, who have urges naturally and normally are still children. To me, that's absolutely sick. Calling them children when they are objectively not. Then let's fix the system. Let's fix all of it. And let's start with make it illegal to fuck somebody when you're not married to them. That would be a wonderful start. That would make me very happy. I don't think child predators used to be this common. I could be wrong, but I don't think they used to be this common. But when your entire society is telling each other and pressuring each other to believe that people are still children when they are well into their adult years, how does that not mess with people's heads? How does it not? I'm sure you guys have seen my video, Adults Are Not Children.
Yes, I have.
What are your thoughts on that?
I I think we've had this. I think we actually had this conversation already in regards
It's
to
been
it's like
mentioned, but I
why
don't
I
think
don't
we've
like.
thoroughly talked about it.
I will never ever be of the opinion that it's like someone my age. I've always been of the opinion that the youngest I could date is like 18. I don't have a problem with that. I don't, and personally, it's like I don't want to date somebody who is in high school anyways, or
That's
still is in high school.
that's
But
understandable, Scurvy, but we're not really addressing at what age would you prefer to date someone. We're addressing at what age does someone become an adult. It's a
oh, because I always saw that as like in regards to like in regards to dating and all that, because I see that because an issue that I have with the whole, it's like below, somebody is an adult below the age of 18, is because that invites the lolicon motherfuckers to basically spout their bullshit about how they, a 30-year-old man, wants to sleep with a 14-year-old girl.
Well, that's taking a degenerate, disgusting approach to it. That's that's not really even my argument because I don't believe.
Okay.
I think that the concept
Maybe
of
I might have
well,
I might have missed the point
you haven't
then, because
you're not totally in like a different galaxy, so don't beat yourself up too much. But I
okay.
think it's a very Jewish concept. The entire phrase "age of consent" is totally Jewish. It's bullshit because that's not how history did things. History did things with marriage. Just I think sleeping with someone outside of marriage should be illegal, even if you're engaged to them. It should be illegal.
I, I
I
could agree to
also
that.
I also believe like ideally when you become an adult, which is 14 for girls and about 16 for boys, when you become an adult, that is when you should get married, but to each other. I don't think it
Okay.
should be
Yeah,
like
I got
you
no
turn
problem with that.
14. I don't think it's like you turn 14 and then there's a 50-year-old man waiting for you. I no.
Yeah.
I don't approve of
No, it's
that.
only with each other. Oh, okay, yeah. I don't have a problem with that then. If it's like
And
if
it,
it's like just with like a minor and a minor, I don't have a problem with that. I'm just saying when the like the lolicon fuckers which are quite prevalent among the groypers actually. It's like they're like people around my age, and they're saying it's like, oh, the bet, like and they're just saying, I want a 14-year-old wife because that's the most optimal for. It's disgusting.
Yeah,
I find that to be
we know
thoroughly
we
disgusting.
know like where they're coming from with that. But I
Yeah,
think
but I don't have a problem with what you're suggesting.
I think this obsession with age alone is retarded, though. There's more to sleeping with someone than just age. Okay, it's about the whole reason we do it. At least if you're a Christian, you believe this, is for pair bonding, and procreation.
Yeah,
just those two. It's not meant for I want to have some fun with a random person. In which case it's wrong no matter what the age of either of you is.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I'm not saying age is nothing. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's not everything like everyone treats it. It is not everything.
I got you.
In fact, I would say if a woman is older than the man, in just about any case, it's wrong. But still, age is not everything. There is a right way to do this, and just leaving it all up to age is retarded. But there's also a reason, and unfortunately I didn't make this clear enough in my video. There's a reason I find this subject so important. And I did say it in the video, I just don't think I emphasized it enough. It's got to be a conspiracy. It has to be, at least in my mind, it has to be a conspiracy to want people to think that you have to be at minimum 18 to be considered an adult, and they still want to increase it. How is that not a conspiracy to make everybody more childlike? And at the same time, when you're trying to convince everybody that full-grown adults are children, you've just blurred the line between what an adult and a child is. I agree with that. By default, that's predatory, and it's being pushed on everyone. It has been for decades, blurring the line between adult and child. And that's what you're doing when you keep increasing the age of what an adult is.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of what I was what I was saying earlier in regards to the lolicons. That's like the opposite extreme where it's intentionally trying to I'd say it's also like we have these boundaries. We have these boundaries for a reason. Why? Like, okay, I've seen people say it's like, oh, it's like the underage 21-year-old. I think it was like some TikTok thought, like, at the gym complaining about like, oh, why do guys stare at me at the gym? It's like, no, chick, you're not underage. You're an adult. By all intents and purposes, it's like you could buy alcohol. You could get, there's a lot of things that you could legally do at that age for all intents and purposes, and also like your mental faculties too. It's like, for all intents and purposes, you are just calling yourself underage 21-year-old because you're just doing it for attention. You're not actually that. Stop fucking lying.
I also saw that from that chick who interviews people and makes it funny. Like, she interviewed that black woman that thought musician is the same thing as magician, whatever her name is. She left her husband and child to be with black guys. Whatever her name is, she said that one time as an excuse for what she did. She's like, when I got married, I was a 21-year-old child. I was like, oh my God, this is why I bring this subject up. This is why. People are 21 years old and still referring to themselves as a child. That's how do people not see what this is? Like, and they have it completely flipped upside down. I've seen people like try to make it sound like I'm the one who's sick. Like, no, all of society, or at least certain people in power, are trying to blur the line between what a child and an adult is. I am trying to unblur the line.
I see your point. I do.
It's a very solid line. You know, maybe you want it a bit more blurred. You want it blurred up to 18. I disagree with that. I don't think we should drag out as much as we can how long it takes someone to grow up. I think we should be training people to be adults as soon as we can, in the hopes that they grow up as fast as possible and start taking life seriously as fast as possible. And I don't mean like unrealistically early. I just mean like don't keep acting like a child when you're 20. Okay? That's what I mean here. But everyone thinks that's okay. It's one of the things that's bringing us down.
Extended, I know this phenomenon you're talking about. Extended adolescence. It's like adolescence is a very specific time in a person's life. And really the only thing that should be extended, so to speak, if we're using this terminology, is adulthood, because once you reach it, it doesn't end until you die.
Yeah. It's a solid line. That's all my argument is. It's a solid line. It's not a blurred line. I think this question might convert you guys to my side here. Very simple question. Have you heard the term horny teenager? Just have you heard the term? Have you heard people say that before? Oh, they're teenagers. They're horny.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, never mind. Yeah, I've heard that.
Something like that. Okay. Why is that a thing if they're still children? If it's common to have these urges, but they're still children? You see my point here? So it begs the question, it begs the question, are they really children? If it's normal to have these urges at that age. So all of society is telling each other, we're all telling each other, it's normal for children to have these urges.
I mean, that is what we're conditioned to believe, that it is just part of the development process. Yeah.
That's why I emphasize this subject. We blurring this line is part of what's leading to our destruction. And I also believe all these stories we keep hearing about, these hunters, and they keep finding, sometimes they find the wrong person and they're just looking for clout. But I don't think child predators used to be this common. I could be wrong, but I don't think they used to be this common. But when your entire society is telling each other and pressuring each other to believe that people are still children when they are well into their adult years, how does that not mess with people's heads? How does it not?
So in regards to that, I also think that okay, actually I need to think on this a little, because there have been instances of just I think there are too many people out there who are basically trying to do the whole pedo hunting thing for clout. It's gotten so bad that I remember this incident pretty well. It's like you had the people trying to set up the sting, and the people who set up the sting were pretending to be an 18-year-old girl in college, and a 22-year-old man matched with the 18-year-old girl and when they agreed to a date, he got heckled at by a bunch of guys, and by those guys who were doing the sting, and it's just well, they didn't have any sort of case for the sting. Who they were impersonating was somebody who's already an adult.
Yeah, it's a performance.
Leave that shit to the professionals, like Alex Rosen.
Come to think of it, this is I don't know how common this is wherever it's at, but have either of you guys heard of Romeo and Juliet laws?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so that's already kind of a conflict in society. Just the fact that those laws out of necessity exist to accommodate for the idea that 18 is the age in which you have become from a child to an adult. And yet, as we kind of covered already, there's all these different gray areas between areas between, well, when someone does become an adult and a child. Like Ark, you said that the average for a woman and a man maturing is 16 and that and 14.
No, that's not the average.
full-
That's the maximum. Like, they are all fully grown by those ages.
Yeah. Well, what I was getting at is, well, Romeo and Juliet laws exist. Like I'll use a bit of anecdotal evidence on my part. So, a group of friends I used to have, there was some drama a few years back about one guy in our extended friend group having intercourse with the girl. Now I think the guy was 19 at the time and the girl was 16, which, given public, given the general consensus on this thing, is a very, very contentious. But where that conflict came in is, well, it's why I brought up the Romeo and Juliet laws, because had he, again, I may be misremembering a few things, but had he turned 18 and then 19, let's say they were dating for 2 years and they were both in high school when they started, what do you do when someone hits that magic number 18 and becomes legal and an adult? Well, are they expected to stop dating at that point because one's a child? So I get where you're going. I get what you're saying, Ark. With that blurring of the lines, because it takes something that's black and white and makes a bigger gray in between.
Yeah, those kinds of laws think they're helping, but really they're just covering for a bigger lie. Because in truth, they're at those ages you just gave in that specific story, they are both fully grown. And fully grown by definition means adult. Now, I don't know how they met each other and whatnot, and by the way, it can be predatory regardless of age. Regardless. That's why I keep saying we put a retarded amount of emphasis on age. It's retarded. It can be a predatory situation no matter how old either of them are. Like, I used to date a woman 16 years older than me. I was 22. I look back on that, and even though, like, she didn't pursue me, she still wanted to be with me, which I won't call her a predator, but I will call her a creep. There's not much of a difference between those two things, but there is a difference. She was a creep for wanting to be with me when I'm that much younger than her, and women are supposed to want to be with a man who can protect and take care of them and has life experience and all that jazz, which I did not have when I was 22 and she was 38. Clearly. So why did she want to be with me? So age is not everything, but it's not nothing.
I'd like to engage.
Hold on. Romeo and Juliet laws. It's just cover. It's just covering for a bigger lie. What it really is admitting is, yeah, they both are adults, but we're just pretending that only one of them is. That is what these laws are ultimately admitting. They're both adults. Otherwise, if you truly thought that 16-year-old was a child, you wouldn't have Romeo and Juliet laws saying that's okay. You wouldn't. If you firmly thought that is a child, you wouldn't care how close they are in age. You would tell the guy, wait. Only if they were like extremely close in age, like 6 months apart, would that make sense. But even then, you wouldn't need a law for that, would you? I don't think so. You're basically the same age. But final point.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
Final point. I think we all agree, right, that Mother Mary was like 13 or 14 when she had Jesus.
Yeah, That's about
Yes,
right.
the Theotokos was 14, and to us Orthodox, Saint Joseph was actually older, but the thing is, it's like she never had, like, they never had any sexual relations with each other.
Yeah, but
Like, he was more of a conservator.
they also
In the LDS
weren't
faith, she's considered 13 usually.
they also weren't ostracized or anything like that by their neighbors. No one found it weird. I draw the line at 14. Solid line at 14. So I wouldn't be okay with that. And even at 14, I'm still like, oh, I mean, he should be closer in age to her. That's just me. But my point in bringing up Mother Mary is it just further proves the fact that we already know what I'm saying here. We already agree on that. We're just pretending we disagree with it. And how do people not realize this is a psyop? A psyop to extend our adolescence as far as possible, to therefore make us as weak as possible, as stupid as possible, as inferior as possible, so that the elites can have much better control over us. How do people not see this when it's so obvious?
I mean, I get your point, man. I'm just, for me personally, I don't think I'm ever gonna give up the whole. But I will say, I think it, like, U.S. government, is it 18 or 21? I think it should be 18. That way we could have, that way, people who are 18 years old cannot get arrested, for possessing alcohol. But that's me. I think the age of adulthood is 18. Now, to your point, I wouldn't have a problem if, like, a 14-year-old girl, 16-year-old boy, got married. I wouldn't have a problem with that. The reason why I keep bleeding about that, it's like, because we unfortunately, we no longer live in that world where people get, where people get married earlier and are actually able to, to wait. And because something like that requires a country to actually be Christian, like properly Christian.
To be
But we do
100%
not
honest with
live
you,
in that.
Scurvy, to be 100% honest with you, I think that particular argument, that last one you just made, is horseshit. Because to me, it sounds like, well, everything's stupid now, so we just have to add to the stupid, guys. Sorry. That's what it sounds like to me.
But I'm not saying, like, things can't get, like, better where we can go back to, it's like, oh, people can actually, like, wait and then get married. I'm just saying, like, in regards to the world we live in today, it's like, I'm not I don't think it should be raised beyond 18. That's absolutely just like, okay, you're just trying to hamper the birth rate at that point. Any number above 18, even if it's 19, you're just trying to hamper the birth rate at that point.
But what is so special about 18 though? Because objectively, scientifically, biologically, there is no significant difference between 15 and 18. So what's so magical about 18?
At least from the stuff that I've researched, and also just kind of going about with in, like, how, like, just honestly, I would have to say it's more so of, like, mental. It's like, I've seen the kinds of there's a reason why I say I don't want minors on Twitter anymore. Like, I don't expect
I don't want women of any age on Twitter.
I'm just saying, it's like,
women never stop being stupid.
Basically, it's like, I've seen what these people say online. I do not trust them at all with any sort of I do not trust them at all to raise any kids believing in the bullshit they believe, the communities they're part of, just like everything that our culture wants our youth getting involved in, and they do. It's like that tells me it's like, okay, you should absolutely not reproduce in the first place. You are too stupid to reproduce now. When you grow, when you do hit that number 18, you are too stupid to reproduce then. And as the years go on, you just keep proving that you're too stupid to reproduce.
But it still doesn't make that much of a difference. Sorry to keep hammering that point, but at the end of the day, it's still not that. It's still nothing.
I'd rather not have like people who just like who make their whole identities about just whatever fandom they're a part of to be having children. I don't want parents who are basically involved in communities they shouldn't be involved in and make it their whole identity. It's gonna fuck up the kids.
That's not even an age thing. That's a lifestyle thing.
I know, but the people, but in regards to like who gets like the people who are being groomed into that, because let's be real, a lot of the grooming that does happen in such communities, which does also, funnily enough, also extends to the anime community as well. It's like these people can't reproduce. They're unable to, or they're F slurs. Their next best thing are those minors on the internet that they know that they could because of how stupid they are, they could easily get away with grooming them and fucking up their life. It is also an IQ thing.
Do you have any thoughts, Try? We've been talking a while.
I've just been sitting back for the past few minutes and thinking. I haven't said this on the podcast, but Ark, you and I have talked about this subject a little bit. And one of the things I've said to you, I think a couple times actually, is I would consider if we insisted on keeping the concept of age of consent instead of the age of marriage, I would raise it to 20, solely to address the general maturity crisis that we've had over the past few generations as a temporary measure. But as you've kept talking about it, I've realized that's just that's in the same vein as the Romeo and Juliet laws are. It's putting a Band-Aid on a bigger problem. It's not addressing the underlying issues whatsoever.
Yeah, and if anything that our politics in America has taught me, if there's anything, it's that there's no such thing as a temporary measure. Everything they do is meant to be permanent, even if they didn't mean it to be permanent. Like Australia.
That's true.
Australia. Do you guys remember they were building COVID camps in like 2022? At the tail end of the so-called pandemic, they were building camps. Like, when it comes to people in power, especially in democracies, when it comes to making decisions of any kind, they either have no intention of making it temporary or they have no fucking clue how to make it temporary. Their thinking is always, we secretly want this to be permanent, or we just don't know how to stop the momentum. Like, we've always done this, so let's just keep doing it. I don't believe in temporary measures anymore. I believe in fix this shit now.
Yeah, I see your point.
But that's just me. Now, when it comes to this subject, you guys know I don't say this in a vacuum, and everyone's going to accuse me as if I am trying to make it sound like that. I don't believe in this in a vacuum. Like, as soon as girls turn 14, 50-year-old men can start hitting on them. I don't believe in that at all. In fact, I don't believe in sex at all with unmarried peoples. I don't mean this in a vacuum. But
Space,
at the same
space.
time, I am fucking sick of people pretending that people who have fully developed, who have urges naturally and normally, are still children. To me, that's absolutely sick. Calling them children when they are objectively not. Now, if you're of the opinion that, okay, they are adults, which is just fact anyway, but if you want to keep this in the perspective of opinions, they are adults, but you don't want them, to have these kinds of things happening, like 50-year-old men hitting on them and shit like that, or being with them for that matter. If you don't want that, okay, then let's fix the system. Let's fix all of it. And let's start with make it illegal to fuck somebody when you're not married to them. That would be a wonderful start. That would make me very happy. And then we can add to that. We can add maybe we should have some law about betrothals. Like you have to be forget engagements. Just get rid of that word entirely. Engagement. Bring back betrothals. Betrothals. As in one family and another family agree their son and their daughter are going to get married 3 years in advance. Make that an actual law. That would also make me happy. 3 years in advance minimum. And it has to be a family thing. It's not just I like you and you like me, so let's get married.
Yeah.
That's horseshit. Make it a family thing.
I was actually going to say something similar. It's the parents should absolutely, especially the father, should absolutely be involved in that process.
I think the father should be able to veto entirely a betrothal.
I agree. I wouldn't want some Indian just I want to marry your daughter. Fuck off. Fuck off. That's not happening.
I'm not too familiar with the concept of betrothals. I mean, I've heard about them.
Oh, you just fell in it, didn't you? I love this subject. So
yeah, I did, but that's okay. I am willing to learn.
I love this subject. I don't claim to be an expert on it, but I do love this subject. Okay, so with betrothals, you can be betrothed to someone before you're even born. All it means is you're treated as you're married to someone before you're actually married to them. And basically, the father of each person, the father of the man and the father of the daughter, or the woman, I'm starting to not be able to talk either. They have the most authority, but I think families as entire entities should have some kind of say in who is betrothed, but mostly it's the father of both sides. And see, marriage is a human universal, meaning every civilization has had it. Even primitive tribes have marriage. And the reason for that is raising children. But what comes with the need to raise children? Stability, knowing what you're doing, and stability also means the parents staying together. The parents have to stay together to raise the kids together and be responsible for the kids together. That's why marriage is a human universal, even with uncivilized tribes. Everyone understands this is necessary for raising human beings. They need both parents the entire time. And if not, let's say one of the parents dies or both of them die, the children still have their extended families to fall back on, to be raised by them. The nuclear family, I kind of see that term as a pun.
As a trap?
I see it as a pun because I see it like a nuclear bomb waiting to go off. As in the father dies and now everyone's in trouble because they don't live anywhere near their extended family at all. Their extended family is in another state or something. The the father and the mother wanted to move and start a whole new life and all that shit, and then the father dies and the mother's screwed.
Yeah, I've actually thought that about the nuclear family for a while.
It's a time
Especially
bomb.
since,
Too.
yeah.
And you just
It's
got to
just-
hope that it doesn't go off before you grow up. Otherwise, you're in so much trouble. But yeah, betrothals reinforce families being involved with romance and being involved in who gets married and stays married. It's pressure as well. It's not just like I want to be able to control my children. It's so much. It's not that at all, and it's so much more than that kind of shallow thinking. It's family involvement, and you're involved from before these people get married. It's one family getting to know another family that maybe they already know each other and they just want to strengthen that bond with marriage. So there's that. But also betrothal, my favorite part about betrothal is it prepares both of you to be married, to raise kids. The man, whether he's not fully grown yet or not, either way, while he is betrothed to someone, he has time to prepare, to get land, to get a decent paying job, whatever it is he needs to do to get ready. He has time to get ready because this is going to happen. And both families are pressuring him to get his shit together. So it makes men better as well. And the woman, the wife to be, she is basically raised from birth to be a wife. Here's how you cook. Here's how you clean. Here's how to recognize what situations lead to mold and what, babies are basically suicide machines. So here's how you watch over babies. Like they're trained from birth to be mothers. So it's healthy pressure. It's a healthy preparation period. Gives people time to prepare to be husbands and wives. And since both families are involved, it just inherently makes the marriage more likely to last after it happens because both families are involved, which means if there's a divorce, it's basically going to tear both families apart. And for women especially, since they don't do their own thinking, they're very group thinking creatures. If they feel enormous pressure not to destroy their family, they most likely won't. So it fixes every problem all at once. Betrothals are amazing, and we need to go back to them. Fuck engagements. Engagements aren't even real. Like saying, oh, we chose to get married, so now we're engaged. Fuck off.
They also seem to provide another layer of protection to the to the two people, betrothed, because you got both families involved. They have vested interest in seeing if or hoping this will succeed.
Yep.
So something I'm actually thinking that you could probably a misconception that I realized that you can clear up. And it's something I've wondered about betrothals, because this is definitely not the first time you've proposed that we go back to having betrothals. So the only instances, and I realize that this is probably just standard Hollywood propaganda, but the only context in which I've heard the term betrothal being used is in terms of a marriage in which is solely forced, in which, say, neither party can back out. Like, they don't have any agency in the matter.
That's certainly propaganda. Although there is some truth to it by definition. Like, you don't entirely have the option to say no. Sure. Or at the very least, there's enormous pressure to go along with it. Sure.
But technically speaking, you can, say, let's just say both parties involved, they're betrothed before birth, but they both fall for someone else.
Too bad.
Respectively.
Too bad. Because, okay, Here's another misconception about marriage. Marriage, as we think of it, is just retarded. Marriage almost has nothing to even do with love. Marriage is about kids. Kids/legacy. Continuing something of value to both your family, yourself, and your tribe. To hell with your feelings, okay? Marriage is a duty first. It's not, oh, you found your soulmate and you just want to be with them forever. That's fucking gay, first of all. It's a function. It's not playtime. It's not a romance novel. It's a duty. It's a function. All civilizations need it. That's why it's a human universal. Now, ideally, you fall in love after you're married. Or hell, here's another beauty of betrothals that I actually forgot to mention. You're getting to know each other as well during this period of time. Remember I said it's like you're treated as if you're already married, but you're not. You're not living together, you're not sleeping together. You're still not allowed to even touch each other like that. But otherwise, you are treated as if you are already married. Like, this is your betrothed. You have to treat them like such. But you have a time period to get to know each other. Now, sure, you have people watching you the whole time, but still, you can get to know each other during these years before you get married. And even if you don't like each other at first, you could down the road. And after you get married, after you start sleeping together and having kids, sex, it's like I said earlier, it serves two functions: procreation and pair bonding. You can fall in love with someone, you can grow to love someone after you've been married to them. It's perfectly possible. In fact, I would say it's probably normal. Maybe not. I guess I'd have to research that. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if that was normally the case. People who weren't really that into each other after they got married, they were. It took a while, but now they are. Oh, sorry, Scurvy.
That's all right. That's all right. But I need to get some shut eye lest I wipe off the eye crust in such a wrong way that it causes heat death of the universe.
Of course.
Whatever that means, okay.
Just ask some of my friends.
All right, well, you have a good night then, Scurvy.
All right, good
Hey,
night.
you too.
I mostly finished my point, I think. It gives you, being betrothed gives you time to get to know each other, gives you time to possibly develop feelings for each other. And even if it still doesn't happen, one of the wonders of sex is that it's for pair bonding. You chemically become more attached to each other as you have sex. It happens over time. It does not have to happen before anything is arranged. That's retarded. When you have an entire marriage system based entirely on feelings, we're seeing the results of that. Feelings are very fickle things, aren't they? One day you like each other, one day you don't. That's not a recipe for stability. What is a recipe for stability is leaning on the fact that sex is a chemically bonding experience. Lean on that. Depend on that. But don't make it the basis. If you make it all about feelings, that's just simply unstable, and marriage needs to be stable. The whole point of marriage is stability. So, to people who live under my new system, which is not really that new, it's just basically traditional AF, I hope the best for you, that you develop feelings for each other, but that's not what marriage is about.
I guess I'd have to really sit and think about that.
What are your issues with it?
My only concern is the amount of agency involved. Let's say you pair a young man and a young woman together, and say that the woman is just a complete psychopath, it turns out, before they're even married. Now, I'd imagine in a society in which betrothal was the norm, there would be measures in place to account for something like that, where it turns out even before the marriage, okay, these people are just not compatible. It is not working out, or one of them is just a complete disgrace, or the other is just a mess.
Yep.
So betrothals would be rearranged accordingly.
Yep. It's
Okay.
a time period to prepare.
Okay, that's more or less the crux of what I was getting at when I brought up what was probably just common Hollywood propaganda. My only frame of reference for what a betrothal was is these two people are forced to wed. So you actually going in depth and explaining all of this definitely shed some light on it. And and that said, I should say, the reason why I need to sit and think about this is because as much as I recognize that that is the case for marriages in life, in my faith, we believe marriages are eternal. So I'm not disagreeing with anything you've described necessarily. I'm more so just I'm realizing this. It's unfolding as we're speaking now, just how much that is a reflection of how we practice marriage, funny enough, or at least those of us Latter-day Saints that take marriage seriously, that is. I think it was the first episode of King's Council that I brought up my sister and my brother-in-law. And I remember what I mentioned then is they vetted each other before getting married. It wasn't just about, hey, 'cause they went on dates and whatnot, but it was, hey, what is our relationship going to look like? And they got that out of the way before there was the rings.
I mean,
And basically,
that's nice, but when you just depend on people to do that on their own, you might get an outlier every once in a while, like your sister and brother-in-law, but that's not the norm. That's not how most people approach it. Most people approach it recklessly and stupidly.
Right. Honestly, that's what's been so fascinating to me, really just hanging around you guys, acknowledging the worldview that I've come to have over the past couple years. Part of that has been realizing that in my personal life, I am surrounded by exceptions to the norm.
I mean, our whole time period, the last 200 years, is an exception to the norm. I don't think any of my beliefs or ideas are anything new. They're actually very old, and that's actually what I love about them. They worked.